Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Larry Williams. I am coming to you with this video because I realized that one, I have too much to do real quick as far as setting up for Moss and Mary's shoot. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Fx30 real quick now that it's still in my head and we've finished shooting. Basically, I finished shooting a short film with Paul Crawford and Primate Visions. If you don't know anything about them, go ahead and look them up on social medias. The Crawfords are local filmmakers here. Primate Visions is a company here. But anyways, onto the Fx30. The Fx30 is a camera that it was a turning point for cinematographers, for filmmaking as a whole, for content creation as a whole. Sony has been for a long time putting a lot of effort into their video side of their cameras, right? But their photography side of the cameras phenomenal too. There's a lot of people that have professional careers shot on Sony. I know a lot of photographers that own cameras like the A7, the A7S3. They're photographers, and they're not even necessarily using it for video, but they love the cameras because it's got really strong video and photography capabilities. So when the FX30 came out, the FX3 came out, it was primarily made for video. However, there is a photography side of it, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But then its little brother, the FX30, came out. It's a crop sensor, super 35mm crop sensor. Correct me if I'm wrong, it might be APS-C, not super 35, I think it's APS-C. It's a crop sensor, it's not a full frame, so there are differences, obviously. But the camera itself is really, really good. So let me get into the pros and cons about this camera. That for me personally, might not be anything for anybody else. So the sensor size is not a problem for me. So that's not even going to be on either pro or con, right? The biggest one is price. It's $1,400 for the body, or with a microphone handle attachment on top, it's $1,800. You really can't find anything in that price point that does everything this camera does, including Blackmagic. The image quality, I thought it's pretty dope that they actually included a 10-bit 422 option on the interior of this camera. They have a log profile, which is S-Log3, which is, in my opinion, one of the better ones that they have. The size of it itself, the sheer size of it is great. It's small, you can build it out. It's a square rectangle, actually. It's more like the FP, the Sigma FP, where you can build it out. And this camera, like I said before, was specifically made for video, but it has photography functions, unlike other ones like SLRs and mirrorless that were photography cameras with video functions added to it. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this last point, and I think that this last pro is a pro based off of my experience with other cameras, and that is the low light capability. Sony is the king of low light. So even their APS-C size sensors, or Super 35, I don't remember exactly which one it is, they're good at low light. I mean, better than a lot of other cameras that have come out in the past. But with every camera company and every camera brand and every type of camera, including camcorders and all that type of stuff, there's not the perfect camera. So for me, my cons are there's no LCD screen whenever you plug an HDMI into the camera. Now, a lot of people say, well, why would you want that? The one plus about doing that is being able to access the menus, still have access to the menus while you have your screen on the monitor, the external monitor. That's a huge thing for a lot of people, and if you're going to make this camera a video focused camera, that should be an option. Now, I don't know, I'm hoping the FX30 or FX3 is not. I'm hoping the FX3 is when you plug in, you still have the external or the connected monitor to be able to change your menu functions and stuff without having to be on the big monitor. But that's a huge feature when it comes to being a video camera and a cinema camera, in my opinion. The autofocus, a lot of people are like, yeah, autofocus for cinematography. I use autofocus on the C70 when I'm doing Steadicam work, because they have this feature called the face only auto tech. I think they just added face only with eye detection in a newest firmware update. In the independent world, a lot of times you don't have focus pullers, so when you're doing a Steadicam move, it's really nice to be able to rely on something that is automatic with autofocus. I did use a lot of autofocus on the short, and especially when people aren't looking away, it held on really tight and it held on really well. Another thing for me is it doesn't have any built-in ND filters, but then again, at this price point, nothing does. So it doesn't surprise me that this didn't have it. Once you shoot with built-in ND filters, you don't want to go back. So the C70 pulled me into that situation. It's considered a hybrid video focus camera but has photography functions, which, like we said on the Pro, was a Pro, right? It's a video focus camera that has photography functions. However, it does not have a viewfinder. If you look at its competitor, the Fx3 is the same body as the Fx30. So if you look at the Fx3's competitor, which is the R5C, the R5C has a viewfinder for photography. Let's just switch over to the photography side. So that right there is a huge con for me. I would love to have had a viewfinder that I could take photos with and not have to rely on the screen. Overall, the camera was great. I love the size. I love the image that came out of it. I love the feel of shooting with the camera. I mean, it's a great camera, especially if you're looking into going to cinema line anyways. This is considered, the FX is considered their cinema line. They have the Fx30, they have the Fx3, 6, 9. So they're moving. It's a prosumer cinema camera, and they're going smaller like everybody else is. For me, I can't leave Canon, but I can recommend Sony to anybody that's looking to move to either a cinema line, especially Fx30 because of the price, and B, can live with the cons that I have presented to you. That's just the stuff that I got to experience over the weekend. So there's probably more pros and cons to it that I didn't get to. But yeah, I gotta get back to work. Gotta continue setting up this show. They will be here in probably 20 minutes. So yeah, y'all have fun, subscribe, have fun. Thanks for watching.